Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to our budget community portfolio series for the month of October 2024, where I deposit $100 every month into this brand new portfolio that we created from scratch. And then I use that money to invest in stocks, some of which is also influenced by you guys, the viewers, through various polls or even comments and messages that you send me. But overall, I'm basically the portfolio manager myself, and then I do an update video for you once a month to show you the progress of the portfolio. By the way, this is not my private personal portfolio. I actually just did an entire video on that, so feel free to watch that video on my channel if you want a closer look at all the stocks I've invested in myself personally. But for this public one, I actually post every single trade and transaction that I make in our community Discord, which you can get access to by supporting me either on Patreon or through the YouTube join button down below here on YouTube. And by the way, I'm currently running a 1-month trial period for any new members. So if you want to give it a try and see if you like Discord, just message me on Patreon and I'll give you a 1-month trial. So hopefully you like it and you would consider signing up and supporting me through that. It would mean a lot to me. By the way, I'm extremely thankful for everyone that does support me. It means so much to me. I could not do this without you. So thank you to everyone that does support me that way. It means so much to me. Thank you for all the support. All right, now with all of that said, this was actually another very strong month for the community portfolio. So let's dive into how it's doing so far. We'll talk about all the stocks that I purchased in September, and we'll also talk about how each position is holding up so far and what I plan to buy and plan to do in October as well. And then we'll wrap it all up with a few comments and questions from you guys. I'll respond to them. And and then that'll be it for today's video. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into this. Now, the total balance for the portfolio has risen now to about $1,341. It might change a little throughout this video because the market is still open, but that's where we're at right now. And after having the account open for 11 months, we're currently up 12% on it, which when we deduct the cash portion, our actual stocks are up even more at 16% gains. That might be the biggest gains that we've had so far. So very good performance there, and very happy to see that. Very happy with the direction of the portfolio that has been taken. And at the moment, we also currently hold just under $300 of cash, leaving a cash ratio in the account of 21%. As for which stocks I purchased last month, though, I did run a few polls again to get some influence from you guys, including this one on Patreon where I asked which dividend paying stock with at least a 1% yield should we buy more of, to which 33% of the votes went to Verizon. So I added some Verizon stock, and they were pretty far ahead of any other stock choices there too. Then over on Discord, I asked which brand new stock should we add to the portfolio, to which we actually had a first time ever a 4-way tie, those being United Airlines, PepsiCo, Dell, and Supermicro Computer. And so I had to make an executive decision on this one, and I chose to go with what I felt was kind of the riskiest but also the most interesting of the bunch in Supermicro Computer. Although that ultimately turned out to not be so great of a decision because it ended up falling a bit more after I bought it, which I'll show you in just a second. But after that, I also asked again on Discord, which of our 10 smallest positions should we buy more of, to which 21% of the votes went to C3.ai, so I picked up more of them. And then finally over on YouTube, I asked which of our 5 largest holdings should we buy more of, to which nearly half of all the votes went to Google as a dominant winner there. So I picked up more Google stock as well. Now in total though, I purchased $100 worth of stock throughout September, with the biggest of those being Google at $25. Then I spent $15 on Supermicro Computer, the newest addition to the portfolio, then $10 each on C3, Pfizer, and Verizon. Some good dividends there, especially, Pfizer and Verizon, great dividends. And then $5 each I spent on Microsoft, Disney, Nvidia, Extra Space Storage, Chase, and Tyson Foods. Some of those also having good dividends there too, while others are just kind of large dominant companies that I wanted more exposure to. Again though, it was just an overall very strong month for the portfolio. We got, of course, a rate cut from the Fed, with more appearing to be on the way, and that seemed to help lift up stocks even higher, since usually lower rates tend to be a tailwind for the market. But with that said, let's go ahead now and take a quick look at each of the individual positions that we have in the portfolio. I'll show you how much I'm either up or down on each of them. And we'll talk a little bit about October as well and the coming months. And then we'll jump into some viewer comments and questions right after that. Okay, so here's all the holdings on SoFi. By the way, if you want $25 of free stock, all you got to do, click my link in the description, give SoFi a try, and you get $25 worth of free stock. I love using SoFi myself, and I highly recommend them. So be sure to check that out. But if you want to take a closer look at all of these holdings, you can just pause the video and I guess zoom in if you want. But I actually created some custom charts to make it easier for you to see. And so here's the entire portfolio. I won't run through all of these because there's too many to talk about, but just some quick kind of highlights or bullet points would be that 7 stocks alone make up about half the entire portfolio, those being Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Medtronic, Verizon, SoFi, and Meta, which I'm very happy about. I love each of those stocks, have a lot of confidence in them, and they offer a good mixture, I would say, of size, dominance, profitability, dividends, growth, and even value. And the same can be said for the next chunk of stocks. They're all in kind of the 3 to 5% ranges. I think I will be buying more of these, by the way, throughout October, because with so many of my stocks already up by large amounts, I think this could be a good opportunity in October to increase exposure to a lot of these smaller holdings that we have that we want to have just more exposure to them, especially like the 1 and 2% range stocks at the very bottom. We could definitely buy more of those as well. Speaking of how much they are all up or down though, well, as you can see, there is literally only one stock that we're currently down on, which I'll get to in just a second. But in the double-digit gains, we have big standouts in Palantir and Tesla, with both of those over 50% gains each. Then we have NextEra Energy and Alibaba putting up about 40% gains too. Had a really strong month with Chinese stocks because Alibaba has really started to, well, by the way, Alibaba used to be like one of our worst performers, but more recently they've been soaring. They've been doing a lot of stuff with AI recently, but there's also new stimulus coming from China. It's been lifting up a lot of these stocks too that were already just so heavily beaten down and shorted that I feel like they kind of got a rebound from that. So we had some good performance from there, up a lot. It used to be one of our worst. But then from there, we also just have very strong performance across many other stocks that we own here too. Nvidia up 30%. Meta, one of my largest in this portfolio, is up 20%. Amazon, Medtronic, Verizon, and SoFi, also some of the biggest there that I own in this portfolio, and they're up double digits. So I'm really happy to see those performing so well. And then even in the single digit gains, Google is the largest of those. Very happy to see that because that's, of course, the number one largest holding. And then Microsoft, second largest holding, also up 7% gains too. So that's very, very good. Even Baidu is at 7% gains as well. I think they were I'm pretty sure they were negative last month. So we went from negative to actually positive there. Really good performance for that Chinese stock. And I would say I want to buy more of Pfizer if I was to pick some of these here, being up only 2%, and maybe also some Disney stock too, not up too much there either. So I'll have some stocks I'll be keeping a close eye on, but again, any stocks that we have smaller positions in, I also want to be buying some more of those too. I know like Tesla is one of our smaller ones. There's other ones too. So there's definitely some stocks that we can add more exposure to. And then in terms of what I am currently down on in this portfolio, well, it's just Super Micro Computer. The newest edition is down 8%, which I don't want to go too deep into in this video about this stock because I actually just talked about them in my 3 stocks on sale video. It's the video right before this one. You can go check it out if you'd like to learn more about them. But I definitely plan to buy some more of that stock while they're currently down. I think I got to take advantage of that stock crash there because I do feel that it's a decent play on the build out of AI infrastructure long term, which I think will continue to be really important for the future. With that said though, I added another fresh $100 for the month of October, bringing the account up to over $1,444 and raising the cash ratio up a bit to 27%. I don't have much more to add besides all of that, though. I do think overall the market is a bit overextended at the moment, with many of my favorite stocks trading near record highs. However, there are opportunities if you're willing to look for them. Like, in my opinion, several dividend paying biotechs. There's also other stocks like Verizon, Medtronic that are still down a bit from their highs. And so, in terms of where everything is kind of heading and what I want to be buying and what I want to be picking up, well, I think that we're going to be in a period, I would say, of some uncertainty, maybe some volatility, given a few factors coming up. There's the lowering of interest rates that we'll continue to go through. There's, of course, still the current very weak state of the economy. Inflation continues to be there, weighing on consumers. Debt levels are still incredibly high. And there is still the possibility of a recession if rates weren't being cut soon enough, right? And there's a lag. It takes a while for rate cuts to actually affect the economy. So there's all of that. There's the economy. We have to keep a close eye on it. And there's also upcoming elections, which, whatever your opinions are about it, it could still cause some drama and some volatility. So there's a lot of factors there that I think could make for some decent swings. And it's something that I'll be paying very close attention to in the market. If we happen to have any, volatile months, any months where there's big drops in the market, those would be amazing opportunities to go in and buy heavy. So I'll be looking for those. But at the moment, if everything just kind of stays the same or keeps rising, I'll probably just keep buying more stocks that we don't have a lot of exposure to, that we want some more. And this will be a good opportunity for that, making little adjustments there. With all of that said, though, let's finish up with some viewer comments and questions. I'll try to quickly run through about, we'll do 5, maybe 6 or 7. We'll do something like that. And I'll give you my thoughts. And as always, if you want your comments featured in next month's video, all you got to do, drop them down below. All right, first up here, we've got Life Means Balance, who says, waiting for your personal portfolio update as it is due since long time, as you said in the video. Wonder how that is performing. Absolutely. I actually just, like I said, I put out that video for my personal portfolio just very recently. So please feel free to check out that video and see how that portfolio is holding up if you like. All right, next up we have Faba6292, who says, I actually don't think you own enough Tesla. So yeah, that's in response to what I said last month about receiving a lot of negative comments from people that, whatever, called me dumb or something for owning Tesla stock. So Faba is saying here that he or she actually likes Tesla stock and feels that I should own more of it. And I actually agree. I think our position, like I said before, is a little small right now in the portfolio. I think we could definitely buy some more. The stock is performing very well for us. And I think October could be a great opportunity for picking up more of that stock. It's also going to be fun to watch, by the way, for the upcoming Robotaxi Day, which I think is like October 10th or something, but I know for sure it's in October. And I will be tuning into that. I'm sure you will be too. It's going to be fun to watch. And maybe I'll even make a video for you guys about that. Let me know if you'd want to see an update video on Tesla for the Robotaxi Day. I'm just hoping that they announce some cool technology, some good stuff for the future. And maybe that'll help, Tesla stock as well. Up next, so we have Manuel Lima, who says, I don't know if you know Vail. I think it might be interesting for you to analyze it considering its content. I would like to know your opinion. So sure, I do know about Vail. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, I know about them. I know that it's a very big mining company. I think they're Brazilian, if I'm not mistaken. But I know it is like one of the biggest, and they get talked about quite often. But they mine a lot of metals and minerals, especially a lot of iron and nickel, but also cobalt, which is, of course, big for batteries and EVs. So that could be important for the future. I do think it's a very interesting stock. It's one that I might do a deeper dive on in the future. I actually kind of wanted to do a video on different like mining stocks and stuff like that. So it's something that I do sometimes look into, and I may look into it more in the future. The company itself, it looks like, has had some ups and downs. Financially speaking, they've been falling the past couple years, and I think they just announced like a new CEO too. So there's a bit of a shakeup going on with the company. The stock has fallen a lot from the highs, and the valuation is actually pretty cheap. So it could be a decent turnaround play, but I haven't done enough in-depth research on this one to even consider betting on it, at least not yet. But it is a stock that maybe I'll talk more about in the future. But as of right now, I can't give you like a opinion on it. I just don't know enough about them to be honest with you. And I wouldn't want to steer you in the wrong direction anyway. But yeah, but maybe in the future I'll look into it closer. Okay, now the next comment this one, I actually had to pin this one because it was such a nice and supportive comment. It comes from John Smith, who says, another awesome video from Ale. As per usual, I've always thought you were humble, straightforward, honest, etc. I've been watching for years and I send all of your videos to my friends and relatives. John, that is so incredibly nice of you to say, and your actions and your support, it means so much to me. Honestly, keep pushing on YouTube because of people like you. I don't want to get all emotional here and kind of, tear up or anything, but it means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for that support. I love comments like that, so thank you. Next up, we have What Da Marin, who says, it's alarming that C3.ai and Intel were the top picks over CrowdStrike, Broadcom, and Apple, which are the only quality companies on the list. So that's actually in reference to a poll from last month's video where I asked you guys which brand new stock should we add to the portfolio. And I think like C3.ai and Intel were like at the top. I think C3 won that poll. And the rest of those, so this viewer feels that the rest of those stocks on that poll are actually better companies, which I agree with, by the way. I don't think that anyone believes that C3 and Intel are higher quality companies than CrowdStrike, Broadcom, and Apple. But I think that the reason why the voters chose those stocks instead of the others is because it's probably a combination of excitement, like in the case of C3.ai, because of how much the stock is down and like their potential with artificial intelligence. And we've seen how much Palantir has skyrocketed, and C3 could be, I've always kind of referred to them as kind of like their little brother. But there's also perhaps some deep value or kind of turnaround potential with something like Intel, whereas the other, who used to be at the top and now it's at the bottom, but yeah, kind of a value turnaround play there. Whereas the other companies here have very rich valuations. And even, for example, like after the recent drop in CrowdStrike, that's still a rich stock. Cybersecurity stocks are always, highly valued stocks. And also Broadcom has soared in recent years. And Apple is like the most highly valued company in the entire world. So some of those have very rich valuations. And so I think what we saw here is perhaps a little more of the viewers feeling like there's maybe a bit more opportunity in stocks like AI or Intel versus the others. Not that the actual company or the business is better, but just that the stock price itself might have been a better play at the moment. Hope that makes sense. But anyway, thanks for the comment. Next up, let's just do a couple quick ones here. But we have Steve Del Shad, who says Ford, low price plus dividend. So I think he's, I would say that he's recommending here that we pick up Ford stock. I can definitely add it to a poll for next month to see if you guys want it added to the portfolio. The stock has fallen a lot. Valuation is very cheap, and the dividend is like sky high right now. I think it's like 7%, something crazy. But I haven't been the biggest fan of Ford stock myself, so it's not one that I would just flat out just add to the portfolio. I would ask you guys if you want it. I would put it in a poll, because the only reason why I haven't purchased Ford stock myself, there's a couple of reasons, but one is that when it comes to like the future of the automotive industry and technology and electric vehicles and autonomous driving, I prefer Tesla. So I just always kind of invested in Tesla instead of Ford. And then when it comes to like a legacy player that could survive and maybe still also invest in some of these areas too, and perhaps turn things around and still, survive in that environment, I prefer GM over Ford. Just because I like the brands of GM more, I like what they're doing more, I feel that their business is a little bit better. They do so well with SUVs. They do actually still really well with trucks too. They're very well diversified for just being an automotive company, in my opinion. And they're also investing a lot in EVs, and I like what they're doing there too. So, and autonomous driving. So I don't know. For me, I just like the brand strength. I like the models more of GM. I know that sounds biased, but I don't know. I just never really liked Ford. So it's not a stock that I would own. In my personal portfolio, I own Tesla stock. It's a big position. And then I also own a little bit of GM stock as well. And that's the reason why I don't own Ford. But I can understand what you're saying. Ford has a huge dividend and all that, but it's not a stock that I've ever really liked. Okay, lastly here, let's do one more. This one from Paris Safe, who says, "Hi, Ollie. Because of you, I've invested in EXR." That's extra space storage, by the way. And it's been one of my best so far. Thank you very much for your videos and information. Can I just ask you, what do you think about TTD? Sure. So that's the Trade Desk. It's a digital advertising company, very strong business, lots of growth, and very well performing stock price. However, that stock price is at a record high with also a valuation that is hundreds of percents more expensive than the sector. So I personally never got into that one. I've always seen it. People always talk about the Trade Desk, but I've never bought it myself. I did own another digital advertiser in the past in Pubmatic, but I eventually sold that one for a big profit. And it was more kind of a swing trade than an actual kind of long-term investment. These days, because pure play digital advertisers tend to be a little too rich for my taste, I actually like to just get my exposure to digital advertising through giants like Google and Meta, who also do many other things. They're more diversified, they're super profitable, and I just sleep better at night, owning those as opposed to worrying about some of these other ones that are perhaps maybe a little more risky or volatile. But yeah, that's just kind of my opinion on Trade Desk. Hope that helps. But thank you very much for that nice comment, and I'm super happy that EXR has been a good performer for you. Really happy to see that. So thank you for your comment. All right, my friends, that'll do it for this month's update. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, drop your comments down below, and thank you for all your support, and I will catch you in the next video, and good luck with any investment decisions that you guys are making out there. All right, take care, my friends. Bye-bye.